Hi English 101i students. I hope that you have had a great first week of classes, whether those classes be online, face-to-face on the Lander campus, or even if you happen to be still back in your home country, which I discovered about at least one of you this week after trading some emails and talking back and forth. So it's been really nice to get to know some of you so far through the discussion posts you've been sharing or through emails that you've sent to me. So let's keep it going. We'll keep on communicating with each other, talking with each other. Keep your questions coming. I'm glad to help you out with any assignment. I know for many of you, learning online is a somewhat new experience, but we want to make it as positive and productive and beneficial to you as possible. Okay, so going back to last week's assignments, we'll review a couple of things that you worked on. So last time you were in Module 1, and these Module 1 activities were really just to get our feet wet, to get started, established in the course. So as you saw last week, you watched an orientation video, you watched a video that gave you a tour of Module 1. You know that every module is going to have due date reminders, so you know what's coming up in each of the module folders, and that'll help you stay organized with all of your assignments and other classes too. So you did your introductions. I'm still sending some personal notes to everybody there as I read through them. One thing that I do want you to be aware of as you look at feedback or comments on assignments, if you click on My Grades, which you should see in your own version of Blackboard, it's going to populate this list of assignments that you're working on. I put all the major essay assignments up at the top because those are larger portions of your grade. But as you scroll a little bit further down, you'll get to the essay assignments. Not essay assignments, the homework assignments. So for example, this Welcome to English 101i Online, you probably, or some of you may have already seen 100 points out of 100 as long as you completed an introduction. I gave you 100 points for that. And you might have seen a little black kind of comment bubble next to it. If you see a bubble like that, go ahead and click on it to see any comments or personal feedback from me. And you can look at those for any homework assignment that you complete. So it's good to be aware of that so you can be checking your feedback throughout the semester. For major essay assignments, you'll receive your feedback in a different way. And when we come to those assignments in a week or two, I'll show you how that works. But for now, just be aware that homework assignments, you can access your comments right here in My Grades. Okay, going back to my classroom, we'll go back to the modules and again review a little bit from Module 1. The other assignment that you did was the diagnostic essay, and what I've been doing with these is downloading them and I'm inserting your essays into Word documents and I'm putting feedback into those documents. This week, by tomorrow at the latest, you should receive a copy of your feedback, but I'm going to send it to your email address, your Lander email address, so make sure that you look out for that. The purpose of that feedback is that we're going to be using it for the first assignment that you work on this week. So the goal is kind of twofold. One, I just want to see what your writing is like, what your experience with English writing is, how comfortable you might feel writing an essay in English. It just gives me a good idea of where all the students are. The second goal of the diagnostic essay is that it's going to get you familiar with our editing system for grammar, punctuation, spelling, sentence structure, all of those good things that will make you better writers. So that was the idea of this diagnostic quiz. So the numbers that you see in this quiz, I think I've got a copy of this open already, and I do. So all these numbers that you see here on the left side, I'll be using those numbers to put feedback into your essays throughout the semester. So if I see, for example, a spelling error, we'll scroll all the way down to number 15. I would highlight that word in your essay and mark it with a 15. If I see a sentence structure problem like a comma splice, we'll learn more about these in the next upcoming weeks of the semester. If I see an error like that, I'll mark it with an 11. So, and again, if I were to see a verb tense problem, I would mark that with a number 1. And the idea of using this number system is that, one, it allows me to give you feedback a little bit more quickly, which is a good thing, because the faster you get feedback after writing an essay, the more helpful it is to you. If you get feedback 3 weeks after you write your essay, you probably will forget everything that you did. So it's good to get it as soon as possible so you can begin working on it. And the other good thing about the number system is that it allows you to see patterns. So if you have a lot of number 1s, you can say to yourself, I think I might need to brush up or review my verb tenses. Or if you have a lot of number 5s, maybe you made some mistakes with articles like a, an, and the coming before nouns. So you might need to review that topic a little bit. I will also use the information I get from the patterns I notice in your essays to determine some of the grammar topics that we'll study in later weeks of the course. So this diagnostic quiz and the diagnostic essay give me a lot of information, and they give you a lot of information too. So for the essay, like I said, look out in your email because I'm going to be sending you personal feedback on that diagnostic essay. And again, as long as you completed the essay, you're going to get full points for that because I'm not grading it on correctness. It's just to establish a baseline of where every student is. The diagnostic quiz, for this one, instead of correcting your mistakes, this was, again, kind of a baseline quiz just to see what students know and might not know. So instead of giving you personalized corrections on that one, I've been sending back in feedback a link to a correction document that where I correct all of the errors in the diagnostic quiz, so you can use it as a reference document throughout the semester. One student did have trouble opening that, so I'm going to go ahead and post a copy of the corrections here underneath 1.3. I'll just call it 1.3a or something, and that way you can always go back and reference that list of corrections in case you have trouble opening it from the feedback. The syllabus scavenger hunt, this was just a simple survey in a Google form for me to know that you had a chance to go ahead and look through the syllabus and you know what's coming up this semester and what some of the policies in the course are. Anytime we do a Google form like that, well, actually, I'll save this for when we get to Module 2 because you're going to be doing another Google form over there, and I want to make sure you know how to submit those kinds of assignments. Finally, the survey, which I'll be looking through in the next few days this week, gives me more information about your experience and background in English, especially academic writing in English. So this first folder just gives us lots of good information to work with, like kind of a data collection that helps us plan our activities for the following weeks. Okay, so moving on to the next module. We're going to go into Module 2. Okay, so in Module 2, each of the modules has a description that gives you a list of the different objectives, what we're going to be studying and learning in that module. So in Module 2, we're going to be applying a number-based editing system to edit your diagnostic essay. So kind of what I explained to you in the previous part of this video, you're going to be taking that number system and actually working with it a little bit to get used to it. You'll also learn about the importance of audience and purpose in academic writing and about the steps of the writing process. It's good to kind of lay this foundation in academic writing before I ask you to write an academic essay. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our Module 2 folder. So as it tells you here, the Module 2 due dates for assignments 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 are all this coming Sunday, August 30th by 11:59 p.m. And in this kind of spot right above, you'll see the link to this video that you're watching right now. So I'll direct you to that when I send out a written announcement for this week. So your first assignment is called Grammar Focused Diagnostic Essay Editing. So after you receive the number feedback on your diagnostic essay, as I mentioned, you'll get it by email. You'll revise the errors to the best of your ability using the examples from the grammar diagnostic quiz. So if you see a number 15, you know it's probably a spelling or capitalization error. If you see a number 11, it's probably a sentence structure error. Or if you see a number 2, it's a verb form error. I don't expect you to be able to correct all of these perfectly at this point because you're just getting used to the system and you may need help, or you might want to ask questions. Feel free to ask me a question about any error that I mark in your diagnostic essay. I'm glad to give you help. This is not an exam or a quiz where you have to get everything correct and perfect. It's just to get you familiar with the system and see how it works. So that goes along with what I say here. Don't worry about getting every correction correct. Just make sure you make an attempt for every error. And if you really can't correct something, you can even say so in a comment. So the purpose of the activity is just, like I said, to get you used to the feedback system and to kind of see what patterns you might notice in errors that you're making in your writing. So this video that you see linked right here is a tutorial about how to do track changes in documents. Maybe another thing that you can do as a way to complete this assignment, if I just go in and open up a document here, like this diagnostic quiz, a couple of ways that you can make changes in the document that I send back to you. You can go to review and you can add a comment to something. So let's say you want to make a correction to something that's in your diagnostic essay. Okay, I know this verb is not in the correct tense, so I'm going to add a comment and say could not. So you could do that to make corrections in the diagnostic essay that I send to you. Another way to approach this would be to use the track changes feature. So again, in the review tab, you can click on track changes, enable it, and then I could go ahead and type it directly, could not, instead of can not. So the idea of this is just to give you, again, this chance to practice making corrections on your own, to see how well you can do that, and definitely ask any questions that you need as you work through it this week. Okay, so you'll click on this link right here, and here is where you can then browse your computer to upload your copy of your revised diagnostic essay. And again, don't worry about getting it all perfect. This is just trying things out. Okay, your second assignment this week is about audience and purpose. So in academic writing, you need to know who your audience is, who is reading your writing, what kind of knowledge, background, and experience do they have about your topic or about you. That kind of determines how you approach a writing task. What's the purpose of your writing? Is it to inform people, to entertain them, to sell them something, to persuade them of something? All of those factors are very important before you sit down to write an essay. So you're going to click on this link here to complete a journal entry. And this gives you your specific instructions. So you'll read chapter 3, which is pages 66 to 71 in the online textbook, English 101, Rhetoric and Composition. All you have to do is click on the link and it'll take you to the book. I have it open right here. And it's an electronic textbook used for English 101 courses. So you'll scroll to pages 66 to 71, and you'll read about audience and purpose there. So after reading that short chapter, I'll ask you to give brief answers to each of these questions. And you'll find all of the information you need in those pages. Once you're finished with the reading and you're ready to create your journal entry, you just click on Create Journal Entry like you did for the diagnostic essay. And you can either paste your answers into the text box here, or you can put it on a separate document and upload it. It's up to you which option is better for you. Okay, so that's our 2.2 assignment. And then finally, you'll learn about the writing process. So I've given you a nice infographic here that explains all the steps of the writing process, from pre-writing to responding, revising, editing, and finally publishing. So I'll have you take a look at that. And then there's also a video that I would like you to watch that explains that process in a little bit more detail. So after you study the infographic and you watch the video that outline the steps of the writing process, I'm going to ask you to take a quiz. So this quiz is another Google form quiz. So when you click here, it's going to open it up. I've put the same video here just so you can see it here too if you need to refer back to it. And I'll just ask you to answer the questions there. So don't forget to put your name so I know whose quiz is which. And then you'll just tell me some of the information that you learned from watching the video. And when you're finished, you'll click on submit and I'll receive it. Some students have asked this week about seeing their grades for those assignments that are on Google Forms. You won't see it immediately, and you won't get a submission receipt for it from Blackboard because I'm using an application outside the Blackboard environment. So as long as your name is on the Google form and you hit submit, it should get to me with no problem. I'll be checking it through my Gmail account. So in case, you don't see a score appear for that right away, it doesn't mean that I haven't received it. It just means I haven't entered a score yet for it. But be aware of that for Google Forms. We have a few of those throughout the semester, so don't worry if you don't see a grade right away. It will pop up soon. Okay, so I think that is pretty much everything for Module 2. All of these assignments are due by Sunday, August 30th by 11:59 p.m. If you run into any questions, concerns, anything that doesn't make sense or isn't working right, please let me know. This week we'll really be kind of establishing ourselves with our editing system, with the foundations of academic writing, and then moving into next week and the week after, we'll be getting ready to write your first essay. So I wish you a great second week of classes, no matter where you are, on campus, off campus, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. If I can get the video to stop, that would be nice, wouldn't it? All right, bye-bye.